Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Chapter 2 of my Druid Archer character concept Let's Play featuring this guy, Araelas, my favorite little cannibalistic, nature-loving wood elf. Alright, so it looks like we made it to Windhelm, but before we move on, I think I need to do a bit of a recap, just because it's been a long time since I've actually recorded anything, and I need a little refresher on where we were last episode. So last episode was a big one. Thanks for putting up with me on that one. It was the premiere episode, of course, of Chapter 2 of this Let's Play. Araelas is still pretty heartbroken from being rejected by the Spriggan, also known as the Aspect of the Forest, over here in Autumnshade Clearing. She was pretty much the only family and the only love he had ever felt in his entire life. That was his kind of first exposure to the warmth of a loving entity, we'll say. So when she decided that his dark side was growing too high, or too dark, meaning that his hunter's instincts, his hunter side of him, that was causing him to be compelled to sort of kill people and animals for bounty, for profit, and sort of just because he was good at it and he liked it. That because of all that, she decided she wasn't going to make him her agent of the forest, so to speak. So a dejected Araelas kind of wandered around aimlessly until he felt a sort of familiar energy coming from Froki's shack. Turns out Froki is a fellow hunter. He may well have even spent time in some of Araelas's older hunter groups. Of course, Araelas, how he entered Skyrim was through the Velothi Mountains here on the eastern border of Skyrim, up through Cyrodiil, sort of up through the intersection of the Gerals and the Velothi Mountains up here, until he was kind of beckoned by the forest to leave his group and kind of strike out on his own, to be sort of one with nature, I suppose. Froki trained Araelas for a while, and kind of sensed a bigger purpose, a higher strength within Araelas, something of an epic story within him that he needed to go find. And he wasn't going to find it while he was moping around Froki's shack. So Froki decided to kind of give him the boot, kind of pointed him toward Whiterun, where his protege Ayla had fallen in with a group of like-minded individuals over here. Araelas, in his heartbroken state, kind of wants to validate his misery, so he he doesn't want to take any steps that are going to make him happy just yet. He's not done feeling depressed, which is fair. Many people who have been part of a messy breakup often don't want to feel better until they're ready. So on his way out, Froki actually gave Araelas a bit of a quest to perform, and that is Kind's Sacred Trials. We have to find, track, and kill these guardian animals, these guardian entities. And since Araelas wants to validate his misery, he doesn't want to spend any time in the warmer climates of Skyrim down here in either Falkreath or Whiterun or the Reach. So he's going to make his way first to Dawnstar to hunt down this guardian skeever in the coldest, sort of driest, most desolate place that is available to him. And he is doing that by way of Windhelm. The air here stings his sort of delicate Bosmer flesh, which is much more acclimated acclimated to the warmer temperatures of the rift amongst the trees and everything. So he hates it here, but that's what he wants right now. He wants to hate life. What a lump. Okay, so here we are now in Windhelm on our way to Dawnstar. I think the plan here is to see what Windhelm has to offer. It's still pretty early. See what Windhelm has to offer in the form of bounties, hunting missions, just whatever else he can find. Now, right away, the sort of... Okay, let's listen to this first.
And you refuse to help the Stormcloaks.
We haven't taken a side because it's not our fight.
Hey, maybe the reason these Greyskins don't help in the war is because they're Imperial spies.
Imperial spies? You can't be serious.
Maybe we'll pay you a visit tonight, Imperial spy. We got ways of finding out what you really are.
Do you hate the Dark Elves? Are you here to bully us and tell us to leave?
No, of course not. I don't hate your people.
You've come to the wrong city, then. Windhelm's a haven of prejudice and narrow thinking, unworthy of one such as you.
Looked like those Nords were giving you trouble.
Nothing new there. Most of the Nords living in Windhelm don't care much for us, but Wall is the worst by far. He likes to get drunk and walk around the Grey Quarter yelling insults at us in the small hours of the morning. Oh, a real charmer, that was.
Sounds like it. So, why do they think you're a spy?
Some of these Nords will come up with any excuse to despise us. And it isn't just the Dark Elves they hate. They make a target of the Argonians as well. In fact, just about anyone who isn't a Nord is fair game for their bullying.
Okay, so let's take a minute to talk about Araelas and his view of race. He doesn't really have a specific view on race. He feels that both man and mer alike are just people. And people are just sort of like a subset of animals, which are a subset of nature. So we're all kind of the same in that. Araelas has never really understood racism, although he has felt it, experienced it before in the hunter groups, albeit not as explicit and as strong as this. So he's going to do his best not to get involved in sort of the racial tension stuff here. He's going to do his best to ignore it. He might be targeted a little bit by these Nords, but he also knows how to take care of himself, so he's not too worried about it. But what I was getting at is right away on his way into the city, Araelas is... oh, there's a Kodak moment. I just love the sunsets and the sunrises. Right away, Araelas is sort of... the city makes an impression on him, mostly because of the cold, smooth stone walls, which is a far cry from what he's used to. He prefers the wood of trees surrounding him and sort of like water and the life of vegetation all around. And there's not really any of that here in this city. In fact, he kind of feels on the inside of the walls the same feeling that he got from looking at the outside of the city in. And that's just a lot of coldness. And more than coldness, there's a lack of warmth. And that kind of sounds like the same thing, but the lack of warmth that he is feeling is not just temperature and sort of the lifelessness of the walls and the ground here, but also he's not feeling any warmth of love. He doesn't feel a whole lot of love in this place. So life, love, it all seems to be sort of missing from this place. which fits right in with his mood at the moment. Excuse me. So he's feeling rather at home here just because he is so uncomfortable. I know that's kind of a contradiction, but that's the way he's feeling right now. So I think for right now, I'm just going to sell off some stuff that I've gathered on my way here. See what I can do as far as picking out some bounties at the inn. And just kind of look around and see what's going on here and what Araelas would be interested in. Okay, so I just got out from the Palace of Kings, which is the sort of palace of Windhelm. And I talked to the steward, and we got a bounty for a giant, actually. And I'm kind of excited to do that. As Araelas would be as well. It's a new target that he hasn't faced yet. He's seen giants on his way from the original camp that he was part of to Riften, or to the Rift, in search of warmer climates. But he was level 1 back then, and would have been no match for those big old brutes. So yeah, I think that's going to be the next thing on our to-do list. We also talked to Oengal, the castle blacksmith, and he wants us to find the original sword of King Freydis that has been lost inside of Lost Knife Hideout. So we're going to take care of that for him too. That's going to be second on our list. Lost Knife Hideout sounds like a bandit, sort of bandit lair. So I think that will be a good chance for Araelas to blow off some steam. But I think he's most interested in taking down this giant over here, just because that's prey that he hasn't stalked yet. So I think that's going to be the first thing on our to-do list. The next thing, I think... Well, before we do that, I think he just wants to explore a little bit more. He hasn't been up this way yet, so let's go see what we have over here.
Then it's true, what everyone is saying. That Aventus Aretino is doing the Black Sacrament, trying to summon the Dark Brotherhood?
Oh, Grimvar. Always with the nonsense. No, of course not. Those are just tales.
Fine, then I'll invite him out to play. He lives right there. I'm going to knock on his door.
No, child, wait! That boy, that house, they are cursed.
Ha! Then I'm right. I knew it. He's trying to have somebody killed.
All right, I won't deny it, child. What you heard is true. But Aventus Aretino walks a dark path. His actions can lead only to ruin. Now, enough. We will speak no more of this. I am the only friend you need.
All the Argonians at the docks are nice to me. Good thing, too. My father would run them off.
Okay, so interesting. Araelas knows what the Dark Brotherhood is. And he's actually found himself thinking about them more and more ever since he got waylaid by an assassin some time ago. He doesn't really know who has the contract out on him. And he doesn't really care. It's probably one of the conjurers that... or it has something to do with one of the conjurers that he took out in a previous episode. But this idea of putting out a contract on someone and then treating that person as a target and getting paid for it is a lot like the bounties that he's interested in. The hunter in him is very intrigued by this. He doesn't know anything about the Dark Brotherhood other than that they exist. He knows some basics about how they're a guild of assassins. What he does know is that the person who lives in this house is trying to contact the Dark Brotherhood. He wants to put a contract out on someone. He wants someone killed for money, which happens to be a specialty of his. So let's go check it out. This happens to be a door that we can actually pick the lock to, thank goodness.
So very tired. Sweet mother, send your child unto me, for the sins of the unworthy must be baptized in blood and fear. So very tired. Please, how long must I do this? I keep praying, Night Mother. Why won't you answer me?
Hello?
You've come at last! I knew you would!
Are you alright?
It worked! I knew you'd come! I just knew it! I did the Black Sacrament over and over with the body and the things, and then you came! An assassin from the Dark Brotherhood! You don't have to say anything. There's no need. You're here, so I know you'll accept my contract.
Contract?
My mother, she died. I'm all alone now. So they sent me to that terrible orphanage in Riften. Honor Hall. The head mistress is an evil, cruel woman. They call her Grella the Kind. But she's not kind. She's terrible to all of us. So I ran away and came home and performed the Black Sacrament. Now you're here, and you could kill Grella the Kind. Sorry. To be honest, I'm kind of lonely here. As much as I hated getting sent to Honor Hall, I really miss my friends there.
Well, I hope that things get better for you soon. I know the sting of loneliness. Okay. Alright, Bjorn. You're right in the way here. Man, that was a cool trick. I wish I could do that. Actually, I think maybe I can. Let's toggle clipping. Alright. Okay. I have to say, I think Araelas is pretty compelled to complete this contract. As he's shown over and over again, he is sort of powerless to resist a contract. He's been doing bounties before, targeted animal exterminations, and I think this is a natural extension of that, especially when you consider the dark place that Araelas is in right now. Now, I know that this goes completely against the Druid side of a Druid archer. I'm well aware of that, believe me. This has to do with the conflict, the inner conflict that Araelas is feeling between the light and the dark. He's in a very dark place right now. Right now, the darkness is winning. And I'm sorry if you feel like this was some false advertisement as far as Araelas being a Druid archer. But I promise you, we will get to the Druid part soon. It's a big part of where this character concept is going. Stay tuned. I have some cool stuff in mind. We just aren't there yet. Araelas' road to becoming a true Druid archer is going to be a rocky one. It's not going to be all sunshine and roses. He's got some growing to do first, and anytime you have growing, you have some growing pains, and he's going through some of that right now. So let's put that on our to-do list. That said, we're probably not going to get back to Riften for a little while. What time is it? It's not even 11 yet. It's pretty early. I think we have time to go see what we can do about this giant. So I'll probably cut here unless something interesting happens on the road. But if all goes smoothly, I'll see you at the giant camp. And we'll see how we can take this thing down if we're even ready yet. Okay, so here we are at the giant camp. It looks like it still hasn't activated the map marker yet, but this is Broken Limb Camp, which seems like a fitting name. Let's see, we got Bjorn here with us. We're probably going to need his help. It looks like 2 giants, not just one. I'm really not sure which one I'm supposed to take out, but I'm sure that once I attack one of them, the other one is going to respond. So, 2 for the price of 1, I guess, huh? Okay. So before we go any farther, let's... Oh, it's been too long. I don't remember what the Necklace of Peace was. Let's get equipped for this here. Okay, we're not ready for that yet. Definitely going to use stamina. Archery we're going to need. Okay. And also, I think we're going to need to break out the elven arrows and whatever poisons we can use. Alright. So I'm going to make a quick save right here just in case we need to back up a little bit. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get a sneak shot in here. Let's see if we can get back into the shady area. No, I think that's asking too much, huh? Alright, well, let's get this started. Try to focus fire on one at a time here. Keep our eye on the other one so we don't get flanked. Doesn't look like we have any mammoths to worry about. Looks like they already took care of Bjorn, but he did all that we could ask of him here. Okay. Let's try to use the terrain to our advantage. Okay, there's that one. That wasn't the right one, apparently. Oh, yeah, it was. Okay, good. So we could disengage now if we wanted to. Let's see how we fare against this guy. We have the range advantage. Aha. Okay, not too bad. Let's go ahead and just double check to make sure we're on the right gameplay setting here. Yep, we're still on Master. That was not an easy fight. Luckily we were out in the open so that we could use the terrain to our advantage. Enemy AI doesn't seem to know what to do with small little cliff faces like this. They tend to want to go around to a place where they don't have to fall or jump, which we were able to use to our advantage there. We also were able to use TK dodge to pretty good effect there. See what kind of loot we have. We get our elven arrows back. We can use fire salts later on in the game. Once we unlock our trick arrow. Sleeping tree sap. That's interesting. Once we can unlock our trick arrow perk. And we have the encumbrance to spare, so we'll go ahead and take those boots too. Now, last time this bird squawked at me, I couldn't find the target he was trying to point us at. Ooh. Bjorn needs some help. I think I did actually download and install Jackson's Renamer on another profile. I think I'm going to do that on this one so I can... Sorry, that was really loud. I didn't want to talk over it. So that I can rename our cave bear to Bjorn. I think that would be fun. Jackson's Renamer is such a simple little mod, but it makes such a big difference. For things like family heirloom, like you could have just a regular old steel sword that has no significance, but say that you used alternate start or Unbound to start with that sword, you could rename it to like Family Heirloom Sword, or it could be like Araelas' Legacy or something like that. And it just adds a little more meaning to that sword. You could always just roleplay that and do it in your own head, but in my opinion, it's always better to see what you're roleplaying manifest on screen. there's a certain thrill to that, I think. Alright, some decent loot here. No mammoths, which I think helped that fight out a little bit. We also have some action for the episode. I don't think this one ended up being too long of an episode, especially after I cut all this stuff out. But I think it was a pretty big one, just to kind of point out what path Araelas is stepping onto right now. He's not in a very light place, so his druid side has not been too strong lately. But that's all part of the conflicted nature of this character concept, I think. And we'll explore that further. Some of these more alteration, nature magic, and restoration type spells will make their way back around. And I think we will see that later on in the game he's going to sort of approach that more pure concept of a druid archer. So stay tuned for that. But for now, he's gonna be in a dark spot, I believe. I need to fill up our water skins here while we're here. There we go. Alright, so I think this is a good place to cut it. I think next episode we're going to explore Lost Knife Hideout. We'll head back to Windhelm to collect our bounty and our reward from Owengal. And see what other kind of bounties Windhelm has to offer us. We'll go ahead and clear out the bounties there, I think, and then head on to Dawnstar to take care of the Guardian Skeever and see what Dawnstar kind of has to offer us. I think there might be some fun stuff up there as well to explore. Alright, until then, I think that's going to do it. So you all take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time. Bye.